Hi everybody and welcome to the DABBLEDOO Arts Podcast. Each month we talk about a different topic and we give some teachers tips for the classroom and have a little bit of a chat and a bit of fun along the way. Hope you enjoy. Okay, welcome everybody to today's podcast. Our theme today is winter.
Winter. I love winter.
Why do you love winter, Máirín?
Oh, I don't know. I absolutely love winter. I love, hats, gloves, scarves. Just being out walking in wintertime is just fabulous.
Cozy vibes.
Cozy vibes. And like if it's a little bit of frost on the ground, if it's a tiny bit of snow as well, that's always gorgeous.
It seems to it almost rains a bit less in winter. In a way, there's more days where you'd actually get out as long as you just wrap up warm, get your coat on, your boots on, big thick socks.
Probably rained a bit more in summer this year than it has even in autumn. I know there was lots of different storms and stuff that we had over the last while, but
it is great, like getting out in the winter, for walks,
I love the winter walks. I don't think my dog does though. He's very much like, no, don't make me go.
Yeah,
but love a good winter walk.
What's your dog called again, Máirín?
Sherlock.
Brilliant.
It's actually it reminds me of a friend of mine from Spain who lived next door to us when we were in college, and he used to love going out for runs around this time of year in Dublin when it was like really cold and there was mist coming down and that kind of thing, and he's saw the lamppost through the mist and all that, this kind of gothic vision of Dublin that he had. He said that's the same romantic idea that we have about going to the beach in Spain, is Spanish people coming over here and feeling the cold and the fog.
Wow.
It's an interesting way to look at it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that's a nice, this time of year especially, with the whole Halloween and moving into winter then, is kind of a nice time of year in Ireland.
It's funny how other people look at Ireland with like
Yeah,
this romantic eyes.
You love when it's freezing cold and going out for a run in Ireland, but you do,
Yeah, cool. Quick question, would you prefer like a winter cruise or summer cruise, winter holiday, summer holiday?
Winter holiday.
Or I mean a warm holiday.
I don't think I've ever been on a winter
down.
holiday.
I did Norway a couple of years ago in the middle of December, and like it was cold, but it was just like unimaginably beautiful. It was like so I'd do that again in a heartbeat.
You've been on some winter holidays as well? Well, you've been working, haven't you?
I mean, I do a job for Santa every now and again.
Yeah.
Up in the North Pole, so I've been on that winter holiday. But I'm a fan of the sun. Like I like to go to the sun as well as holidays.
But how many times have you been up in Lapland, wasn't it?
Yeah, up in the North Pole, Lapland, maybe 15 times.
Wow. Cool.
I know.
I don't think I've been in a winter. I might have, when I was a child, I might have been over to Brussels, where they got nice kind of Christmas markets around kind of central, like Germany and Brussels and all the really cool winter markets. Yeah. So I remember that one, but yeah.
Christmas markets are fab,
I'd be happy just going to Achill Island, in the summer, which is a mix of summer and winter.
All the time.
A holiday.
Yeah.
You jump in the sea and you're freezing again.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Christmas markets and lots of other things that happen around winter and Christmas, we've got a few topics we'd like to talk about today. Shane, do you want to tell us a little bit about some winter celebrations that happen around the world?
Yeah, well, I think a big theme is the difference between Christmas and winter. So Educate Together schools in particular, but a lot of other schools will prefer to celebrate Christmas and Christmas festivals from around the world, as opposed to, I think definitely in the olden days schools would have just done Christmas and that was it. But it's a really positive thing to represent all the different children that are in Ireland at the moment from all the different backgrounds and countries, to represent their version of what winter is and the celebrations they might have. So I think we've all done work in each of the programmes in music, drama and art to find different winter festivals. It's tough, actually. Did you find it tough finding information and finding content about winter festivals? It struck me how American the internet is when you go and search for winter festivals, and it's all just American Christmas stuff coming up. You really have to dig deep to find out about other celebrations from around the world, even though something like Diwali is celebrated by maybe billions of people around the world. But the one I chose, I've got a few in the lessons, but an interesting one is Shab-e-Yalda, which is a Persian kind of festival. So it's Iran, but it's in Pakistan, Turkmenistan, all those stands around there, all the way over to Turkey. So again, there's millions and millions of people celebrate this Shab-e-Yalda. And when you look at the winter festivals, you find they're all very similar.
Yeah.
They're all very similar to Christmas, all around the world, winter festivals. It's kind of the harvest has just been. People have saved some lovely food from the harvest, and it's getting cold. Everyone, gets inside, enjoys some nice food with friends and family, and that's what Shab-e-Yalda seems to be very like. I think it's a big focus on food, but like I said, like any of these festivals, food is a big focus. The pomegranate is a big one, I think, that they celebrate in particular. But loads of lovely stuff, and loads of telling stories and singing songs and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good opportunity as well in schools with any of the art subjects to. Sometimes it's difficult as well, so finding songs that relate to, say, Shab-e-Yalda or Hanukkah or Christmas is kind of easy, but some of the other festivals is tricky. Like, I find it quite tricky to find songs about Diwali.
Yeah.
Specific songs that were celebrated around the time of Diwali. And it turns out that there might not be that many of them, but you can still use that opportunity to talk about Indian music. Or Shab-e-Yalda in the lesson, even though there wasn't specific lessons about or music or songs about Shab-e-Yalda that I found. I do talk about the Persian sitar, which is a guitar type instrument with 4 strings. So it's a good opportunity to not be specific about like artworks or music based around the festival. If you can't find those, it is a chance to talk about the country or the area that the festival is in. So there's amazing Persian sitar player in the lesson talking about how the instrument works. So yeah, that's a kind of and another tip I think we were talking about before is to make use of the different backgrounds and different ethnicities in your school as well. So if there is a child from a certain part of the world, ask them what it's like. So if there's a child, another lesson we have is one that's looking at the Yule kind of celebrations, which are Yule would be kind of Scandinavian, North European, the Yule log and all that kind of stuff. But then down through like Lithuania and Latvia and things, it'd be still Yule style celebrations. So if there's children from Latvia or Lithuania or those places in your school, it's a great way to find out about them by asking them. I mean, they're the experts.
That was always my approach with any of the kind of cultural festivals that I was very, like I knew what they were and I could research them, but I always asked the kids who celebrated them, it's like, well, what do you do? And I remember I had a child in my class who was Hindu and so celebrated like Diwali and Holi, and their parents would send in emails of all these amazing pictures of them celebrating these festivals, and they're in their traditional dress and all, and the food and the rangoli. And she got up to the top of the class and was telling everyone about it, and the kids were hooked on what she was saying because it's a personal experience from them. It's not me going, well, this is what some group of people in this part of the world do. And it was the same when it came around to Ramadan then. I had a few kids in my class who were celebrating Ramadan and Eid, and I was like, you come up and tell us about it because you know more about it than I ever will. So, and that's great for kids to get up and to do that as well.
It's so empowering as well for them
and
to
they
share their
love
culture.
They absolutely love it as well. So yeah,
it's great for both sides. It's great for the kids learning about it, and great for the children that are getting up and explaining.
Great for the adults learning about it.
It's great, as I said, because it's so hard. You won't. Those children will give you more information about the festival that you'll find anywhere searching online. Like you need to look beyond the internet for a lot of these cultural festivals and things.
Especially because the way different families celebrate it isn't really documented on the internet so well, So like hearing it from a child's mouth is like, it's gold, isn't it? And their experience of it is different to what an adult might even say,
Yeah.
What they feel and what they remember is quite different, because obviously with the fuss of festivals, there's always a bit of fuss and faff with Christmas or any celebrations that adults might be experiencing, and the children just experience it from a whole other level, which is beautiful.
Like if you were to explain about an Irish Christmas and you were just reading about it, you would miss out maybe on things like after eights. After eights is a big part, Ferrero Rocher. There's certain things like that are very much part of an Irish Christmas celebration. So there's little details like you'd hear from the kids about what they're doing with their families that are really interesting to hear. Oh, you do that, and then you watch the Queen's speech or whatever it is. Anyone watch the Queen's speech?
No, we don't watch.
My granny used to always watch the Queen's speech.
But the kids mightn't also hear about, Uncle so-and-so wasn't invited this year because of whatever happened last year.
Or even it gets into certain films that are always on that people watch tradition. Like everyone's got their own traditions and things. So it's...
Every Christmas Eve we sit down, we watch Muppet Christmas Carol. Every year. And that's our kind of tradition in our household.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
But it's even things like that, like talking to children in the class, and they might say something, they go, oh well, not everyone does this, but my family likes to do it this way. which is the nice part as well. Because you get like, it's nice to get those little snippets into like what their life is like as well.
Yeah.
Great.
So.
But finding out about songs in particular, because it's hard to find some of those. There could be songs that they just sing in their family, or they just sang in their town or their city or wherever they're from, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it is interesting, because it's amazing. So we've got a huge breadth of Christmas music that we listen to, which is great. It's lovely to listen to music at Christmas, but it'd be interesting to hear, especially Diwali. I'm still really interested to find out music specifically about Diwali, because it's hard to find, so we must do more research there.
Yeah, I actually spoke to Mansi, who's in our drama content. Is she popping up in the art as well?
She might make an appearance.
She might make an appearance in the art. So I asked her about music, and she wasn't like, oh, this is the most popular song we sing. It wasn't the first thing that came to mind, and she was struggling to find a song that was like really Diwali associated.
I suppose it's spread over such a huge number of people in a huge area of land that it there might not be specific. It might be specific to small towns and families and stuff. So again, another reason why it's great to talk to the children about it.
They do have lots of chanting though that they do as well during that time, you know, so Sanskrit chants that they might do. Which are they're beautiful. But I did find a Diwali song which is just in my head right now on Disney Junior, and it describes all the different things that they do, you know, celebrate and eat sweets and light the diyas, and so I suppose it's another big celebration happening around November, December, Diwali, which is huge. And again, like all these celebrations are just a great time for families to get together, and friends and communities, I suppose, to unite over something that's like fun and exciting. And I suppose for people celebrating Diwali, it's like their new year, you know, it's like releasing, letting go of whatever has been happening, the dark, and like embracing the light, which is a gorgeous art lesson as well, right? When they're creating their
lanterns and rangolis are probably the most popular thing you would have seen on the walls in so I taught in an Educate Together, and you know, when we were kind of going, oh, it's Diwali soon, we need to come up, we need to figure out what to do, everyone would kind of go with the mandalas and the rangoli. So I think the first thing I thought when I started doing the art program was okay, what can I do that isn't any of those things? And so things like making the diya lamps and the lanterns is quite a nice way to celebrate it and have something different and unique by the end of it. But like some of the artworks that you see when like researching it have just been spectacular. Like the craftsmanship that goes into even like the rangoli that they do on the ground from is it the chalk powder? It's just like, and
flowers and it's amazing some of the things that are online, isn't it?
You'd love to be that talented.
I know.
I
also learned about this festival in Japan, the ice festival. It's similar, like the ice sculptures that they create is just phenomenal, like huge massive sculptures in the middle of cities, and it's just another phenomenal celebration that like obviously we can't really comprehend living in Ireland, because you know we don't have that experience of the ice, which is, you know, well, not yet.
No. I've just got a weird memory of a bizarre moment in my life where I was over with the National Youth Orchestra in Dubai, playing with Liam O'Flynn, the piper from Planxty, and he had to do a shot for Dubai TV. So you know that 5-star hotel, is it the Burj? Is that what it's called? The Burj Hotel, like it's a 6-star hotel, whatever it is. So we drove in these golf buggies under the roads up, and with Liam O'Flynn, I had to play guitar, and we were playing on the beach, and there was ice sculptures on the beach. Those are the most bizarre things I've seen in like 40-degree heat. Ice sculptures. It's a strange place, Dubai. I found it a bit odd. Okay. There's some strange things like that, especially around all the kind of resorts and 5- and 6-star places. But ice sculptures, just got to remember that.
Whoa.
There's a strange idea to put ice sculptures on the beach. It was maybe just them saying, look, we can do this if we want to.
We can do whatever we want here in
Dubai.
Dubai.
Hotel.
Shout out to any teachers.
So that was there. They have they have their ice sculptures all year round.
Yeah, so, cool. Brilliant.
I think what I like when from like a teaching perspective about kind of the winter time is just how many of these celebrations fall on the winter solstice. So Shab-e-Yalda is one that's on the winter solstice, and then of course we have our own winter solstice kind of, it's not even so much as a festival as that it's all this around Newgrange, and this is the perfect time of year if you've got those middle classes, 3rd or 4th, to start talking about like early people in Ireland, and it's a brilliant time to bring up Newgrange and talk about, well, soon, you know, the lights are going to go through, and if you live close enough to the monument that you can go and see it, the visitor centres there is fab. And if you go into the ruin, they do a simulation of the light coming through as well. There's videos on YouTube of it all, and it's a brilliant one to talk about, particularly at this time of year, and then linking that and being like, well, this is a celebration of light, like Diwali is a celebration of light, and like I think there's a couple of cultural celebrations around the world at this time of year that focus on that solstice and that light, and that, you know, the days are now going to get shorter and we're coming into spring. So that's my favourite time of year to talk about Newgrange, is this kind of dark winter, because you can really get the feel for, like, you know, it's not too long now before it starts getting bright again. And
there's kind of something magical in the air around that time of year as well, I think. Like the summer solstice, you know, when it's just so bright, and then the darkness is, like, I feel it too, like that little change. Have you been to Newgrange?
I've been, but not during the winter solstice.
Yeah, it's hard. I think you can do lottery or something to get tickets.
I've never even attempted because of how notoriously hard it's supposed to be.
We should really stick our names down for, like, if you're not in, you can't win, isn't it?
Yeah,
Everyone should stick their name
exactly.
in for
What's
that.
crazy about going into those ruins is if you're wearing a backpack, they ask you to take it off and walk through it so you don't accidentally hit off any of the rocks on the way in. And the whole inside is covered in graffiti, and they're like, if your surname's there, don't point it out because we hold a grudge. I was like, okay. And my last name's quite common, so I was like, nope, don't see it anywhere at all. Not a single one of my ancestors is scrawled all over this place.
But like graffiti from hundreds of years ago.
Yeah,
and stuff,
like you see it, like, you know,
Carved in.
J. Murphy, 1846 or something. You're like, jeez.
It's even just amazing to think that they were they set up those type of things to mark out the shortest day and the longest day of the year, and that there had to be festivals like these festivals that were all celebrated and are going back thousands, tens of thousands of years.
And for kids, that can be quite special to them if you point out just how old something is, and going, and they do the same kind of celebration that we do today, and they're kind of going, whoa. Like when I did Newgrange with my third class, they couldn't comprehend how old it was. I had quite a lot of students from Egypt, so when I was like, oh, it's older than the pyramids, they were like, what? They just could not believe just how ancient that site and the sites around it are supposed to be. So
it's just phenomenal, like, isn't it? It's really
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I'd like to go back there. I haven't been there in years.
Did you see the program that was on talking about the oldest wooden pipes that were found, the oldest wooden instruments in the world, I think, were found in Ireland? But they're around this. Is Newgrange about 4,500 years old? Is that what they reckon, or 4,000?
Yeah, about 4,000 years old, 3,500. Yeah,
because I think these pipes are around the same age, 4,000 years old. They're found preserved in a bog.
Wow, amazing.
And they're just pipes of kind of different lengths, from a couple of foot to like a foot, that were played separately, blown to the top of them. But I think they're some of the oldest wooden instruments that were found anywhere in the world. In Wicklow, the Wicklow pipes they're called. So at these festivals, even thousands of years ago in Newgrange, they were probably playing the music,
playing the pipes,
and it's insane to
and
talk
the
about
fires.
the carvings in the stones at Newgrange, being like, you know, they were mapping out the stars in this, but people were still creating art thousands of years ago before we even were able to write. We were able to create, which is really cool.
Yeah,
there was a cool shout out to another podcast. What's the Melvin Bragg one? Do you ever listen to that? In Our Time, there's a cool one about those cave paintings. Is it Portugal where the oldest ones are? Is there really like 20,000 year old ones in Portugal or Germany?
Spain, the Altamira caves, and then there's the really famous ones in France.
Yeah, but they're going back, some of them, is it about 30,000 years ago?
30,000 years ago,
because they were talking about that a lot of them were in huge big spaces within the caves, so they reckon they were designed for people to see together. So it would have been like at festivals and things, everyone would pile into the cave and look at the amazing artwork they have, and that some of the other artwork they had was like in private little space. You had to crawl under a rock and look in. It's like really uncomfortable, and you twist your head around and you could see a piece of art. But it's only for one person to go and look at it at a time, and then some of the other artwork was there for whole groups of people to go and see at the same time.
Solo installation.
Yeah, and probably acoustics probably had a big part of it as well. So if they were singing, like those big caves with the artwork, would have been amazing to see.
Amazing.
Does anybody else just think about Father Ted when we talk about caves, or is it just
the very dark caves? Was it?
Or were they called?
The very dark caves, and the sign outside said it's almost like being blind. very dark caves.
Was that the one with I don't believe it? That guy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, when they went to the mainland, wasn't it? They went to off the island. Yeah, yeah. Very good.
Father Ted. It's a classic.
It really is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I could. Yeah, I think about it way more than most people probably. And quote it a lot as well.
How often do you think about Father Ted?
Like definitely once a week.
More than most men think about the Roman Empire, is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Once a week you think about Father Ted?
That should be like the new question here in Ireland.
Yeah.
How often do you think about Father Ted?
I'm a big fan of Father Ted, but I'd probably only think about it once every 3 months or something.
3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, let me know next time you think about it.
I think about it a bit more now.
Quote from it often enough, like among my friends groups, quite often for us to be like down with that sort of thing.
Yes.
Every couple of weeks, one of us will be like down with that sort of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm singing My Lovely Horse in my head right now.
All the time.
Didn't your friend translate it into Irish?
He did, yeah.
My
Did a great translation.
couple.
Did a great version of it, yeah.
Jazz.
Jazz. My God.
Let's put that in the curriculum for
Oscar.
Shocking the Gaeilge.
Oh, Anua. Did you have a recording of it?
No, but he sings it every year. We get him singing at Christmas.
Well, we got to get him in to record it for sure.
We will,
Brilliant.
Okay. We're coming on to a new part of our podcast called What's New at DABBLEDOO?
Wow,
What's new,
great,
DABBLEDOO?
Nice. So what's new?
What's new at DABBLEDOO?
The big thing we're looking at, and it's winter related as well, is this collaboration we're doing with the ARC, which is the amazing children's arts centre in Temple Bar in Dublin. An amazing place that's been open for years. I think it was one of the first specifically designed art centres for children in Europe. And it's one of the top theatres and venues and art centres in the country, full stop, never mind for children, for adults too. It's an amazing place. So we're working with them on a show that they did a number of years ago. It's a winter show, so again, it's not on, there's no Christmas kind of themes, it's all about winter themes. So that's really exciting to see what that's going out next week. So it's going to be interesting to see what the schools think of it. It's an amazing trio of sisters from Donegal who've written all these, like it's a 50-minute show of beautiful winter songs. Yeah. That's really exciting.
It's so inclusive, isn't
Absolutely
it?
brilliant.
Lovely,
Perfect if you're not covering Christmas or you can't really cover Christmas with your class, but it's still such a great little like show, and it's very jazzy. It's been stuck in all of our heads for the past couple of months since listening through it.
It's called Tracks in the Snow.
Tracks in the Snow. It's fab. Like it'd be a great thing to stick on at the last week of term before winter holidays. Particularly that those weeks are really tricky in an Educate Together, where you have half of the kids getting very excited for Christmas and Santa, and you're trying to encourage that, but also be like, you know, trying to strike that balance can always be hard. So it's lovely to have a load of resources there for winter, where you can kind of help the kids who get excited for Christmas get excited, because a lot of kids will associate winter and Christmas quite closely, but the kids who don't celebrate it will love just these really jazzy songs and like the stories of the wolves in the forest.
But I think it's really it's a really positive thing as well to encourage children to enjoy winter for winter as well, as well as presents and Santa, and you know, if they do celebrate Christmas, because it's a very short Christmas. If they're just looking forward to presents, I mean, it's over in a couple of days, and they go, "Oh, that's it." But as in, if they are encouraged to, you know, enjoy the sound of ice cracking under the feet and going for walks and all that kind of
and
stuff,
hot chocolate.
it's a nice long season to enjoy, isn't it?
Yeah.
What I love about it is I feel like it's going to help people to be a bit more mindful and in the present, because all the songs are about all the different things that happen around winter, and even for me, like the songs about like icicles and hot chocolate and the northern lights, like which are all things like I find when you have a song, it's something to link, something's happening, you have a song to link it to, almost like enhances the moment for me anyway. Which is what's great about music. And we've just seen the northern lights in most parts of Ireland. Sorry, Maureen.
Did you see
Almost
them?
everybody.
You got to see them.
I got to see them.
Yeah.
It was pink at the back and about kind of greeny in the front.
Yeah, they were on view about 15 minutes walk from the house, but we only realised that at 12:30 at night when we weren't getting out of bed.
Couldn't be seen at all in South Dublin.
Oh no!
Sorry for you.
Sorry for you. I was running around the place. Me and my sister were like, "Come on, we got to find them somewhere." But no, we just didn't see them.
Isn't it unbelievable that we've had the chance to see them?
Yeah,
in Ireland, most of us.
Well, they might
you could have had the chance.
They might be out again.
Yeah. Great. Another new thing at DABBLEDOO is we had a very exciting interview recently with Jo Conlon, who is the dame from the Gaiety Theatre Panto. So very, very excited to see that interview and see what everybody feels about it and thinks about it, and see how many people actually know him, because thousands upon thousands of people go to that panto every single year, from not only from Dublin, from all around Ireland.
I've never been to it.
Well, it is no ordinary panto.
Yeah,
It's
I've heard
the
that.
Gaiety
I've heard
Panto.
that. Yeah.
I think we should go on a little trip and
I
see our
think
friend
so,
Joe. Yeah,
Yeah.
a cultural trip.
Yeah,
It was-
I'm going to see Beckett tonight. That's maybe different in the Gaiety as well. It's a different kind of thing, isn't it?
That's
Perhaps last tape.
Probably
It's a
the
different
complete
vibe, is it?
opposite to
I think
a panto.
growing up and going to school in South Dublin, we went to the panto like 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
Definitely. I remember going to see Aladdin for my first one and having no idea what a panto was. And I was probably about 5 or 6. And just kind of looking at this and being like, but why is everyone talking to... Because I'd seen shows and I knew you weren't supposed to talk to the actors because they were busy.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking to them. And that lad has glow sticks everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just this wild thing to me. Like, there's just... all the stuff they sold outside with like the fans with the lights in them.
Yeah.
I'm going around like, this is mental. I want to come back.
Yeah,
I still haven't gotten the glow sticks, so if we're going to the Gaiety, I'm going to get the glow sticks this time.
brilliant. Great. We might have to buy you one before, just to get you in the mood for it.
Is there any other new things?
Anything else new in DABBLEDOO?
We're looking forward to the IPPN conference. If there's any principals listening to this, we'll see it on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's, once a year, a big principals conference down in Kerry. So the full team's going down. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, after
It's always
the
nice to get on
IIC.
and meet the principals and have chats and see how they're getting on and get some interesting feedback from them.
Yeah, great. And it's actually lovely to get that feedback on the ground level, isn't it? Questions and comments, and lots of teachers and principals come up and they say, thank you so much for helping out my staff and giving us all of the art subjects, which is great. And it's lovely to put faces to email addresses, and it's nice for the principals to see us as well and in real life.
Yeah.
And that feedback is so helpful as well. Like, it really shapes quite a lot of what we do in terms of the lessons here, is the feedback we get from principals and teachers, because ultimately they're the ones in the classroom delivering the lessons. So every piece of feedback we get, we consider going forward as well.
Absolutely. Great. That's all the news, I think, for this. Toodaloo. The news is over for this podcast, but we have another new section, which is questions from the teachers. So we got a couple of questions from our social media. One of the first questions, it's actually quite linked to what you were just talking about, Máirín.
Yes.
So what was the question, Shane?
It was asking about the smiley faces that we have down the bottom, or the frowny faces to smiley faces. So if you haven't seen them, it's like they have them at Lidl. They have them at every Lidl in the country now when you're walking out the door.
Oh, yeah.
That smiley face thing.
Yeah.
So we have it at the bottom of every lesson under an assessment heading, so that teachers can talk to the class after the lesson and decide how much they enjoyed it and leave some feedback. So it's a little score out of 5 that they press, and then they can leave a comment underneath. But as Máirín says, we kind of rely on those as a feedback loop. So I think a really important thing from any teaching, certainly when I was teaching music, that it's an important part of like teaching any instrument. Say that you've got this feedback loop going, that you're teaching them something, seeing how they get on, and they can give you feedback as to how well they did with it. So it's similar with the lessons. I think when we can get that instant feedback from teachers and children, did they enjoy the lesson? Was it too hard? Was it too easy? Anything at all, we can then make it better. So as many of those as we can get. So yeah, it's at the end of every lesson in all the subjects, so people can get to the end, have a little. It's a nice moment to have with the class as well, because we have these reflection moments at the end, saying, and it's a nice chance of particularly things like that. Saying, did everyone find that okay? Was it too hard? Was it too easy? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have a little chat, but then let us know, because it's invaluable feedback for us.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great one like that with the smiley faces for your class. Is just, for some very young kids, like if you go on a scale of 1 to 5, they'd be like 8. But just having the face and getting them to be like, okay, well, how did you find this lesson? And always pose the question to the kids as well, because if they found it fun and engaging, it's it's good for them because they're going to take away a really positive experience from that.
And be excited about the next lesson.
Yeah. And we love hearing that as well. We love hearing that kids enjoyed it or had a lot of fun. I've actually had one or two comments that sounded like they were definitely written by the kids because some of the language is just great. It's like, this was so slay. It's like, it's probably my favorite comment because I have no idea what exactly that means, but it seemed very positive.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, bro. Loved it, bro.
So we have like a database then that we can see the comments coming in and we can see any of the scores. And like for us then, usually what we do over the summer is we go through all those comments or the scores, and we track the lessons and see, okay, well, this lesson did really well last year and it didn't do so well this year. So for anyone who has been using the content for the last couple of years, they might think, oh, actually I don't want to rate it this year, I already rated that last year. It's actually still really helpful, isn't it, to get a rating every couple of years for every single lessons. We can track them all. Obviously Shane has years upon years of lessons scores and comments, which is just all really, really helpful.
It's great to have, yeah.
And I think what's great about that is that you can really see if you're teaching third class for 2 or 3 years in a row, you can see just how different the classes are by where they're scoring those lessons. And it's kind of, we see it reflected in a lot of the lesson scores, just how different 2 junior infant classes might be. Which is really, it's all really helpful.
Totally, yeah. And actually, even negative comments are actually super helpful. I had a comment recently that told me that a story was a bit boring, and I was like, do you know what? I thought it was boring too, and I wanted to take it out. But because it had a great rating last year, I was like, do you know what? I'll leave it in and see how we go this year. So those comments, even though you might be a bit hesitant to write, this was a bit boring, or this
we want to hear that. Yeah,
we want to hear
if
it.
This class didn't like it, we want to hear that too.
Tell us, exactly, because that, like, everything is changing so rapidly in their lives with like how they receive information, and everything is getting shorter. With like, especially with people being influenced by TikTok and YouTube, like if things aren't really hitting home as much as we want them to, we want to know about it, right? Because we want to, like, obviously we're not trying to be TikTokers, but we want to keep them as engaged as we can. So we keep them interested in the subjects and the arts. Yeah,
but it's particularly interesting with 5th and 6th class, where you're trying to engage them when they get to the cool age.
It's one of the hardest jobs in the world.
When you're putting in different artists and musicians and bands and go, God, will they like this? They should like this. It's really good, but will they like it? So that's always very interesting to get feedback. So again, there's a comment section there said they would have preferred to hear such and such a band.
Exactly.
That's all amazing feedback too. Yeah. And we'll try and find a clean version of one of those band songs, because it's very hard to find.
Very hard.
As we chatted about before, someone was talking about Post Malone recently, and his music's great, but none of it's suitable for children.
No. So I remember
well, look, people can listen to it at home, but in a school setting, we wouldn't...
you wouldn't want to be analysing lyrics.
Yeah. No. Which is a pity, because some of them are very nice, simple melodies and things to sing as well. They're great, but...
I remember doing lists for school discos and being like, no, we can't play like 90% of this stuff.
You had school discos?
Well, when we were teaching at the end of the year, in the school I was in, the parents would organise a disco, so they'd send an email out to teachers, can you get a list of your class's favourite songs? And actually we found that, because I was using DABBLEDOO music, that Don't Worry Be Happy was straight at the top of that list, and we had done it 2 or 3 weeks before. My class were obsessed with that song.
Great.
Such a great tune.
They still, every year they love that song. It's the top song they love every year. Don't Worry Be Happy.
Loved the video.
Yeah,
they just wanted to keep watching the video and going home from just like, don't worry, be happy.
Pauline McFerrin,
great little mantra.
Brilliant.
It's a great
Brilliant. So
another question that came through was actually asking on the theme of winter and songs as well, of asking what songs they can do that aren't Christmas songs. So again, it's probably an Educate Together teacher. So it's another one that's tricky enough to find winter songs that aren't Christmas songs, that aren't religious or that aren't about Santa. We've thought of a few. There's a few if you go and look on the website, but there's some that Jingle Bells.
Jingle Bells is a great
some of them are like about sleigh bells and snow and that kind of stuff, so they're okay. Jingle Bells, Jingle Bell Rock doesn't mention Christmas.
Yeah, Jingle Bell Rock.
A couple of the jazzy Christmassy ones as well, like Winter Wonderland.
Yeah.
Those type of ones are more about winter, yeah.
This one, it's the sleigh song or something. Just hear those sleigh bells ringing, ding ding. And
That's
no
great.
mention
Ella
of Christmas
Fitzgerald,
song.
amazing. Yeah, that's a great one.
Wait
It's
for
actually my.
Christmas, guys.
I know, yeah.
Can't wait just to hear all that on the radio again.
I did see a Christmas tree coming here today, and I saw Christmas trees like a month ago in Temple Bar. Yeah, it's happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be next month. Next month's podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Any other questions coming in from teachers, or do any of you have any questions for me or each other?
What was what celebrity was born on your
Me.
birthday? Yeah.
My birthday. Okay, so I've got a couple.
So just something we were chatting about before. So there's two questions. What celebrity was born on your birthday? And do you know what was number one on the day of your birthday?
I don't know what was number one on the day of my birthday, but Pat Kenny has the same birthday as me.
Wow.
Nice.
Oprah Winfrey.
Imagine the party that the Perrys would have.
Me and Pat Kenny.
Yeah.
What a hoot. Oprah Winfrey. Okay. You all get a birthday. You get a birthday.
Wow.
You get a birthday. And which was the biggest celebrity in my life when I was younger was my 5th class teacher.
Yeah.
Had the same birthday as me.
Wow.
And I felt like this was like, and even when I was oh no, hang on, was she my 5th class teacher? I think I had her as a student teacher in senior infants, and then by the time she'd finished college I was in 5th year or 5th class, and then she was my teacher, and it was just like I felt like I had struck gold, like, it was like this link that we had, and she's still my favourite teacher, like, when you look back.
Well, mine's interesting because I can actually use 2 different dates. So I'm a leap year baby. So if we're going for the 29th, which is much harder to find, there's the artist Augusta Savage. She's absolutely deadly sculptor from she's in the curriculum then coming up in 6th class, but she moved all around to New York, and she got this scholarship in a bronze factory, and she beat 162 men and was the first black woman to ever win that scholarship. And she is deadly.
Cool.
And the other one is Ja Rule, the rapper. But if I went for the 1st of March, then it's Justin Bieber, which is
Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wasn't a
JB,
believer
a
back in the day.
Yeah.
So just very indifferent to that.
Love it.
As for Billboard, I think it was either Wannabe by the Spice Girls or the Macarena was number one.
I'm showing her ages
Make
here.
me feel so old, Máirín.
'Cause mine was David Bowie, Let's Dance.
Great.
Which
And
is
who's your
also one of my favourite
That's a
songs.
great song.
Great
was
song.
delighted with that.
And
Who was born the same day as me? As far as I know, the only one I can think of is Dion Dublin, who was a footballer for Manchester United and Man City, I believe. Not many of them
No.
who switched over. So
But also
Dion Dublin.
your birthday is Earth Day.
And my birthday's
that's
Earth Day, so the
it's a
same
big deal.
birthday as the Earth.
Earth Day.
Actually, I think Rome. I think Rome's birthday is then. Is Rome's birthday then? I'm going to check that out. Rome's birthday. I'm going to phone.
We've just got our research team on this.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Is it? I think there's something weird about that Rome has a date of its birthday in kind of myth.
Yeah.
/
I
history.
haven't heard that before. But we can look it
Yeah.
up.
What is 21st?
Or we're just hearing from our research
Yeah.
team. Yeah. 21st of April. Yeah. Right? Is your birthday?
Is mine the 21st or 22nd?
I thought you were 22nd.
22nd
Mine's the
of April.
22nd.
Because there's a very
The
famous
21st
birthday on the
is
21st, but it's not.
21st, yeah.
It's not one to
I
be
know, yeah.
celebrated.
21st. But, well, it's Rome. So Rome's
Rome.
birthday and then Earth Day, and mine on the 22nd.
Great.
And Dion Dublin.
So if they're listening,
Hello to Dion Dublin. And
hi
Rome.
Pat Kenny.
If any of my birthday twins are listening,
Justin
Ja
Bieber
Rule.
definitely listens to this podcast. Okay,
Justin Bieber.
have we anything else to finish off with before
don't
we
think so.
relieve these wonderful teachers? I suppose thank you so much to everybody for listening in. We're loving all the feedback we're getting from the podcast with all the questions on our Instagram. So yeah,
Great.
share the podcast with any teachers you feel who would like to listen in. And we will talk to you next month. Thank you so much.
Bye.
And enjoy your winter.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.